On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Kash Patel horribly freaking out the deep state. Deep state's freaking out a bunch of different ways. Can I cover some of that? Also, you got to wonder, and big questions. Biden kind of had his closing remarks. We've got a couple snippets of that. Really kind of talking about how now an oligarch is coming into power, when in reality, the oligarch has been in power, and we're about to take it back, so you can understand why they're so pissed off at Kash Patel. Makes you wonder, will he do a pardon? We don't know. I'm kind of speculating a little bit, kind of making a thumbnail, if you will. But I think we're going to find out, obviously, within a very short period of time. It would not surprise me if Biden levels some blanket pardons. But, yeah, we'll see, especially stuff like he did for his son. All said, got a lot going on. Oh, and I want to remind you guys of music coming up on the Friday show. The music is going to be inspired by Bryan Adams. Have, three Bryan Adams songs. One song that he did with a couple people that's really, really good. And they got a bunch of other great music that I think you guys are going to dig. So it should be a lot of fun. If you want to join live with us in the community, kind of hanging out and chatting about gosh knows what, we'll be doing that at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. Please come and join us. It'll be a lot of fun. I'll be on X, BitChute Live. We'll be on Twitter. We'll be our X. I'm sorry, I said that already. Where are we? BitChute, Rumble, X, Foxhole. I feel like there's one more. But we're not doing YouTube yet. Maybe might at some point start streaming over there too. Got an audience. It's almost at 2,000. It's amazing. It's amazing. Entirely amazing. All right, I got a couple fun things to start with. First and foremost, I guess let's pull this over here to make it more useful. But to whom was correct? Many are going to ask, right? Journalists versus conspiracy theorists. Now, Hunter's laptop. Now, of course, we're right. They're wrong. mRNA vax harm. They're wrong. We're right. Pandemic, lockdown, ivermectin efficacy, HCQ efficacy, face masks useless, censorship, social media, Epstein sex island, elite pedophilia, biolabs Ukraine, child trafficking, Russiagate, Steele dossier, Ukraine corruption. Now, there are many other conspiracy theories that haven't necessarily been true. One in particular that somebody's making fun of that I'm going to play. I actually hadn't heard of this, so I don't feel like I'm poking fun at anybody. But the other ones, I just want to call out the fact that, because I've got a friend that constantly gives me a lot of the kind of crazier stuff, if you will. It's just where they get a lot of their info, and it's fun. I like to hear what it is. I don't like to go look for it myself. It's a waste of time. But I want to say there's been 30 times, 40 times in the last 2-3 years where dates have been given, specific dates where something's going to happen. And every single one of them have been wrong. So again, yay, we've been right about a lot of stuff. But I mean, to be fair, we've also been wrong about some things too. And, well, and this one, I don't know, this one's kind of funny. I guess people are talking about some sort of volcano that's going to erupt in New Jersey. I don't know. These people are, I don't know. This one sounds crazy to me. Nobody knows how to predict these things.
This new earth shit, I swear, it's getting out of hand. A volcano in New Jersey. Y'all, I can't make this shit up. What is going on? There's a volcano and then it's about to erupt. Since when can we predict when volcanoes is gonna erupt? What? A volcano was about to erupt in New Jersey. That's probably why all them drones was flying around. All them drones. That's why all them drones was flying around. Huh? Had something to do with the volcano? They're probably leaving the volcano. They used the passageway and they left up through the volcano because they knew it was about to erupt. So they was getting up out of there. Am I on to something, y'all? No, I'm just playing. But I could be.
I think it's funny. And again, I'm just trying to block out that stupid TikTok noise that pops in there. So kind of poking fun, I'm sure. But still, I hadn't even heard that conspiracy theory. Well, I guess we'll find out if a volcano pops off over there. That would be totally crazy if that happens. I mean, shit, it wouldn't surprise me at this point in time. I'm just still trying to kind of play things as they seem to be more than what people want them to be or are talking about them being. It's like, I don't see any indicator. They'd be having earthquakes and stuff a lot over there. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. Who knows? Red dye number 3. We got a couple things that are coming out about this. Now, this story, We have a very binary way of looking at things, and again, this is like something that I'm kind of focused on trying to help people get out of. Part of the movement that we're going through is breaking out of this binary. It's not one thing or the other. It's how they trap us into our own logical arguments. It's either flat or it's round. It's either right. It's either fish or a burger. It's oftentimes, especially when it comes to fast food, it's probably a mixture of the two. It's got fillers and everything else, right? Like, nothing really is ever one thing or the other. And so they frequently, and this is a great example of where they use our binary thinking, that little stupid on-off switch in our head, against us. Here's an example. U.S. bans popular red dye from foods 35 years after it was banned in cosmetics. Now, here's the thing. Just because they banned it in cosmetics doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. In fact, we're going to talk about the Mel Gibson thing. I'm going to play it again. But the Mel Gibson thing where he talks about 3 of his friends having stage 4 cancer, and one of them was drinking that blue, whatever the hell it's called, which used to be an industrial dye. So, again, just because something was in cosmetics and is not anymore, and I don't believe the blue stuff's still in a dye, like it was like a failed or something, but it had all these crazy properties. So, again, not necessarily a fact to say that it's bad for you. I don't think it's good. I know red dye is bad. Again, I'm just trying to say we got to kind of take things at what it is. We know red dye is bad in food, period. All right? We don't need to worry about the fact that it was banned in cosmetics. It was probably bad there too, especially if it's like lipstick or something that you might ingest or it absorbs into the skin. A few things about the FDA banning red food dye. Number 3. This was banned 35 years ago in cosmetics. Why did it take so long to ban in food? This doesn't take effect until 2027 for food, 2028 for pharma drugs. So it's been banned, but they're still allowed to use it. The most used food dyes, red number 40, yellow number 5, blue number 1, are not affected by this. These are hundreds of common food chemicals that are important to do something other than red 5. So at the end of the day, if you're shopping in the middle aisles in the grocery store, you're getting a lot of processed stuff anyways. Someone had a neat theory that I was hearing recently, and it's kind of like all the processed stuff is kind of that way that they're trying to actually turn us into robots, if you will, by forcing us processed foods rather than natural foods, and getting us to use technology like AI to answer questions rather than using our brains to answer questions or read and figure stuff out or whatever the case may be. There is kind of a funny push. All said. But here's just a reminder of, the blue manufacturing thing that had benefits to humans in a big, weird way. I hadn't heard about this until Mel Gibson's little thing with Rogan. Rogan apparently had heard of it, but I thought worth recapturing.
I'll tell you a good story.
Okay.
I have 3 friends. All 3 of them had stage 4 cancer. All 3 of them don't have cancer right now at all. And they had some serious stuff going on.
And what did they take?
Jesus. They took what you've heard they've taken.
Ivermectin?
Fenbendazole.
Fenbendazole, yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing that a lot.
They drank hydrochloride something or other.
There's studies on that now where people have proven that
people are drinking methylene blue and stuff like that.
Yeah, methylene blue, which was a fabric dye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a textile dye. And now they find out it has profound effects on your mitochondria.
Yep.
Yeah.
This stuff works, man.
So again, sometimes it's not necessarily what it is or what it's used for, but sometimes it can have other, qualities, be it good or bad. Again, when they kick it out of cosmetics, and if the reason was because it could absorb into your skin and cause cancer, then yeah, it should have been removed from food immediately. Again, I'm not trying to... Maybe it's a bad example of what I'm trying to kind of push across, but there's just this constant push, well, this is the case, then this must be. And it's not necessarily. I think we really, really, really need to work on opening our minds. Again, not the best example, but all in all, it was the one that presented itself to me. BlackRock billionaire Larry Fink is issuing dire warnings about the future of LA after fires. He's actually saying these deadly blazes, they've already claimed the lives of at least 24 people and have been estimated to cause upwards of $40 billion in damage. We'd even heard higher than that possibly. LA's ritzy Palisades, Pacific Palisades neighborhood is all but destroyed, while the neighboring coastal community of Malibu was badly hit by the blazes. Altadena, which sits northeast of downtown LA, was also devastated. This is going to be one of our bigger issues we're going to have to be tackling over the next 4 years, Fink told CNBC. When you have whole neighborhoods destroyed and you have infrastructure and schools and supermarkets destroyed, this is not a one-year fix. This is going to be 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 years of fixing. More than 12,000 structures have been burnt by these fires. Now, we've got this reminder in North Carolina, and the same problem applies there, if not possibly worse. I mean, because out here in California, there is a crap ton of money, more so than North Carolina. But this is still happening in North Carolina.
Hollow to the touch, make mischief at your best. I follow at the cuff, fake belief and rest.
Yeah, those people still don't have stuff. It's a mess. And then we talked yesterday about how they're still kicking, they want to kick them out. FEMA's trying to kick them out. These people still don't have homes, and they're still not building. Things aren't moving very quickly at all. Newsom calls for looting to be a felony in evacuation zones amid LA inferno. Looting should be a felony anywhere. Looting is just the worst. It's like you've already got someone that's been just effed, and now you're going to F them a second time. It's just morally, it's horrible. So, yeah, they're trying to make it a felony, which is good because I think this is some of what Trump is going to insist. Like, you've got weak laws. You're letting people steal from homes. Like, so Newsom's kind of in a tough place. He's literally having to crack down in some places where we know he doesn't want to. It's their stupid lax laws. His attorney general or whatever, attorneys general or whatever they call it at state level, it's them that have done these laws. This is your Nancy Pelosi's pushing this within, even though they're outside of the state, but our own state legislature doing the same stupid stuff. It's just crazy. So now, of course, yeah, Gavin Newsom is hopefully going to do something about it. Again, we'll see because he's facing recall again, so he's very concerned. CNN's going to shift Wolf Blitzer to mornings in a massive shakeup at the embattled network. Ratings challenge CNN is reportedly moving veteran anchor Wolf Blitzer to a new slot in the mornings off of his 6 p.m. slot. That's a demotion. Well, I don't know. It's morning shows are usually the biggest ratings, and then usually your nighttime starts to get big. But nighttimes tend to get more into your prime audience, though, too. Again, because most people that are in that prime audience are working during the day. So this is interesting how this is going to play out. But all said, Blitzer's getting moved around. They're, I think, trying to reshuffle because one of their guys, Mark Thompson, is doing poorly. I guess, Pamela Brown is going to be part of this new morning show. I don't know. They're just trying desperately. Oh, Jim Acosta's the one there that's failing. Desperately trying to figure out how to save this network. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I have zero love for him, obviously. U.S. banks massaging the numbers. Nomi Prins warns it's all going to come crashing down in 2025. What they're referring to is commercial real estate. Commercial real estate, ever since COVID, has taken an enormous hit. And commercial real estate banks are continuing to kind of just push out the debt and be like, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. We'll work it out. It'll eventually get better. It's going to happen. And nobody's really renting these buildings. In fact, in San Francisco, they're one of the giant skyscrapers there. The owner of it just walked away, threw the keys inside basically, and said, F you, bank. And that's literally the bank's just sitting on it, and nobody wants to buy it. First off, it's in San Francisco, which is a destroyed city. This is, again, part of the way that I think they're trying to do smart cities. They didn't burn down yet, but again, I'm very curious to see how many other cities have tragic fires. It's one of the things that we've kind of figured was going to happen. One of the things that seems to be common, and floods, fires, any sort of natural disasters that they can use. But yeah, banks have been playing with these numbers for a long time, and unfortunately, that's not going to be able to go much longer. And likely, we're going to start seeing it because it's probably not going to change. Even with Trump in office, people aren't probably going to be going back to the office. For the most part, more and more people are going to work remotely. Obviously, there's certain jobs where that can't happen. If you're a mechanic or it's some sort of inspector or a plumber, it's really hard to be a plumber remotely. Be like, all right, so get under there, get a wrench. This is a trick we learned in plumber school. It doesn't work like that. So things are going to get interesting. There's a lot of things I think that are going to get interesting. And I think there's this odd calm is one of the things I keep talking to a lot of people about. There's this odd calm. Oh, Trump's coming in office. Everything's going to be okay. And it's like, this I think is misplaced. I do think that there is going to be some major chaos that's going to happen. The deep state is falling, and as they fall, they're going to destroy as much as they can. And anything they can do that's destruction that they can somehow try to spin, and that's what's going to happen. They're going to try to spin it. We're ultimately going to win the news war in the end, but the event is still going to occur. Now, can we keep it from being worse? Probably. But it's still likely going to be some form or shade of bad. But we know that they're going to blame Trump. So I would not get too comfortable. Stock market's definitely an interesting place. Super highs. A lot of people think it's bloated. The dollar has definitely been devalued heavily because of inflation. One of the great places that you can actually diversify and really save some of your wealth, and it's still an incredible buy, is precious metals. They don't just have gold and silver. They got platinum and palladium. They got some other really cool stuff. So there's a lot of different metals that you can consider, but it still all works out the same, and these prices are actually going up and up, and this is what typically happens whenever economies have a hard time. Go to drslikesgold.com. That's drslikesgold.com. Look into protecting your retirement savings. We've got some great resources here, and we're going to get this Trump book to you. Also, when you put in the 4 data points and hit get me my free gold and silver kit today, you're also going to be given 15 minutes to call them. They're going to give you a phone number. If you call in, 1, it does help the channel too, but 2, it's going to get you that Ronald Reagan collector's coin just for calling in, just as a gift for making it a little easier on my good friends at Goldco. They'll answer all the questions you have and want. They'll help you in every way they can, and I'm telling you, it's 5-star when it comes to their customer service. I'm a customer too. I've bought precious metals from them. They're an awesome company, and they'll help you through this transition. They may not believe all the crazy stuff I talk about, but what they do is they can handle transferring from the IRA 401k tax-free and penalty-free, and they can make it happen for you. Diversify. Don't be stuck all your eggs in one basket. Move some of those eggs into another basket. Go to drslikesgold.com. That's drslikesgold.com. Protect your wealth, protect your retirement, protect that nest egg or eggs. Make sure you get them switched over into another basket. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Protect it before they take it, and you know they want to. We are going to play the State Department spokesman Miller basically saying the truth that, yeah, Trump actually played a part in this, and I think we all know that's mostly more truthful than not truthful. But Biden, of course, wanted to take credit for it, even though he really had nothing to do with it. But there are some shenanigans being played. We'll get there when we get there, but here's a good start.
When it comes to the involvement of President-elect Trump's team, it has been absolutely critical in getting this deal over the line. And it's been critical because, obviously, as I stand here today, this administration's term in office will expire in 5 days. And one of the things that we have always said about this deal is that when you get from stage 1 to stage 2, that the United States, Egypt, and Qatar are the guarantors of this deal. And Egypt and Qatar will push Hamas to stay at the bargaining table and to get from stage 1 to stage 2. And the United States will push Israel to stay at the bargaining table to get from phase 1 and phase 2. So obviously those are promises we cannot make on behalf of the United States for any longer than the next 5 days. And so it's critical that all of the parties to the agreement and the other mediators see that when the United States is in the room making commitments, those are lasting commitments that extend beyond this administration into the next one. I would just say, lastly, I don't know if it's unprecedented to have envoys from an outgoing and an incoming administration sitting at the same table negotiating a ceasefire agreement of this kind. But if it's not unprecedented, it's certainly unusual. And we, of course, thank the Trump team for working with this on this ceasefire agreement. We think it's important that they were at the table.
So again, very much acting like he's, telling the truth, kind of, which is a little strange. We're not really used to that, are we? All right, some of the Biden shenanigans going on. We got a few videos, pretty short, but him saying, well, kind of silly things, in my opinion. So here's his farewell address to us. I guess this played last night. I didn't watch it live, but here's some of the cuts.
That's why my farewell address tonight, I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern. This is a dangerous and that's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. The dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead.
Now, you got to kind of admit, for America to be great again, like it requires industries to be booming. It requires us to be the best in the world at certain industries. So, yeah, I mean, I guess ultimately that's going to mean some of the people that have some of the best companies are going to continue to reap the benefits of government contracts and whatnot. The fact that we can trust them means they're likely not going to sell their technology to China. That's a good thing. So, again, I feel fear is misplaced. But, of course, this represents the end of the deep state. So, yeah, they're not very happy about this. Here's some more of him.
Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit. We must hold the social platforms accountable to protect our children, our families, and our very democracy from the abuse of power.
Right. Yeah, our children and our democracy and everything. Yeah, all that. Exactly. Even though they voted no, and we'll get there, on the bill, a whole bunch of Democrats, voted no on the bill to kick out sexual predator illegal immigrants. Yeah, 156 of them or something like that voted no on it. We're going to put those names out at some point here. But yeah, that's funny. So they're so worried about the children, but are they? It doesn't seem like it. All said, here's some more of silly Biden.
Right now, the existential threat of climate change has never been clearer. Just look across the country, from California to North Carolina. Right now,
the mismanagement of our country and our states is very conveniently being blamed on climate change. Now, a lot of people have thrown a lot of memes around out here in California showing the arsons starting fire and going, climate change? Also, the electric lines sparking, climate change? One could say that's uncommon. Also, we are in a La Nina year. Those started back in the 90s, or at least the first one I remember. They tend to be drier years. Again, some could say, well, that's climate change, Dan. Well, climate does change. That's what it does. Climate, historically, has never stayed the same. There is no general temperature that's happened. It goes up and down, and CO2 levels change. They rise and fall. Yeah, a lot of things happen in climate. But they use it against us, and they've got a whole generation of people so freaked out they literally have to storm meetings, these meetings where they're trying to get these people appointed, which again, I still argue, isn't that the same thing as interrupting a session like on January 6th where we've still got thousands of or hundreds of people in jail? I don't know how it's different, but whatever. So again, the deep state is freaking out. Rudy Giuliani is a no-show at the civil trial in New York. We actually do have an update somewhere, and it's Giuliani's words. Ultimately, they came to a settlement. It's kind of weird. And I don't know if it was basically Giuliani was he knew the law well enough to where he was kind of dancing through the shenanigans, making it almost impossible for them to do what they were trying to do. It sounds like he's going to get to keep a great deal of his property, and nobody's ever going to say anything ever, and he agreed to some sort of amount to shut them up. So it sounds like a settlement of some kind. Whatever the case is, we'll find out maybe in time. I doubt Giuliani will ever tell us, but who knows. We've also got Senator Colton Moore, who serves as the vice chair of the Freedom Caucus of Georgia. He was just, I guess, unconstitutionally arrested by Speaker John Burns for Georgia for simply trying to attend the State of the State joint session. This is very interesting. The dude should be able to show up, one should say. He's a senator, but they didn't let him, and they literally arrested him. Here's the video of it happening.
Go ahead. You have any concerns about operating the soul food?
One's got to wonder what the hell he did to actually get arrested. Like, that's like you would have thought that the Capitol Police or whatever the hell they're called would have been like, no. So whatever the case is, here's protesters interrupting the confirmation hearings of Chris Wright. Again, why is this okay? But yeah, it's just two standards, right? Again, this is what the Biden administration, he's talking about oligarchs. Yeah, you guys have been effing over the whole side of the country, calling us extremist, MAGA, and all this crap. So again, this extremist MAGA group that overwhelmingly won the election, yeah, y'all better be concerned. Because frankly, your continued abuse of power and your continued veiled threats are no match. And we will win. And I chose my words carefully. I wanted to say a whole lot of other stuff, but yeah, some people frown on that. FBI reveals major malware attack from China group Mustang Panda. Mustang Panda, better slow that Mustang down. Yeah, Mustang Panda, you gotta love the names. Odd that they chose Panda, of all things. But it is a huge international cyber attack. I think it seems to be hitting mostly in Europe, if I remember correctly, 170 countries. They managed to hack a whole bunch of computers and getting all sorts of access to international communications. The FBI described Mustang Panda as the PRC state-sponsored hackers, as they were funded by the Chinese government and targeted European government devices in the cyber attack. Now, my general take on this stuff is this is the deep state. Now, it might be the deep state on the CCP side of things, sure. We've got deep state in this country that are tied in with the CCP too. So this is deep state doing this. Why they're blaming China right now? Because it's been Russia, Iran, all the places they wanted to start wars that aren't exactly going well, that Trump's going to put an end to. So where do you think the next problem's going to be? Anyone vote for Taiwan? Seriously, think about stock prices too when it comes to that, because that's not going to help things. Here is Blumenthal talking to two people I can't stand, but it's all about Kash Patel. It's the only reason I'm even playing it, because, well, it demonstrates how freaking scared they are. They're talking about appointing someone that's not even in the lineup yet, and they're freaking out.
Your thoughts about Kash Patel and your concerns and why you wrote this letter.
The reason for the letter, and thank you for having me to talk about it, is very simply to make my colleagues more aware of some of the really extremist views that he's expressed, his adherence to QAnon, his embrace of conspiracy theories, his statement that government undercover agents instigated and incited the January 6th insurrection, and maybe most important, his determination to go after enemies, that is, political opponents, judges, media, lawyers, and Kash Patel is an agent of Donald Trump in trying to go after enemies. He's very explicitly listed them. They include Republicans, but most important, he can ruin lives and essentially endanger the country. I have no confidence whatsoever that she will be able to restrict Kash Patel. She has limited kinds of resources to rein him in, and he can start investigation without even informing her office about beginning them. There's a history here, and Donald Trump really believes he has an absolute right to tell them what to do, to go after enemies, to use the Department of Justice as a tool of personal vendetta and retribution, and that is truly scary.
And it should be, Mr. Blumenthal. It should be very scary, because here's the thing. You all started the fire. Not to borrow Billy Joel's phrase, but it was you that started the fire. So what we're going to do is exactly what you did. Exactly what you did. And yes, you all should be very nervous, because you will have, again, the full force of the government, just like you did against Trump, against Musk. Exact same thing. Going after him, making up laws from state governments and everything else. Yep, exact same thing, except we'll do it legally. Our shit'll stick. We'll have legitimate crimes against you, And yes, you should be very, very nervous about what is coming for you, deep state. Government gangsters is just the start. Y'all are going down hardcore, and we're going to win the war when it comes to the press. We are, not you. You don't have press, Blumenthal, at all. Here's a wonderful example of how we are winning, and frankly, I love this, and this dude does a great job capitalizing on this. Good job, dude.
Listen closely to what Pam Bundy had to say when Adam Schiff pressed her about 2020. Check this out.
Let me start with an easy truth that you could speak to the president. Can you tell us, can you tell him that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election? Can you say that? Do you have the independence to say that? Do you have the gravitas, the stature, the intestinal fortitude to say, Donald Trump, you lost the 2020 election? Can you tell us that here today?
Senator, what I can tell you is I will never play politics. You're trying to engage me in a gotcha. I won't do it. I won't play politics with any ongoing investigation,
so let me ask you another,
like you did leaking your colleague Devin Nunes's memo.
Did you catch that?
I won't play politics with any ongoing investigation.
So let me ask you.
If you thought we were done with 2020, you have no idea how the art of war works. 2024 changes nothing. Trump about to be inaugurated changes nothing. There are things going on behind the scenes that no one's talking about. My real ones know what I'm getting at. Stick around. It's going to be a doozy.
Yeah, deep state is going to get hammered. Hammered. We ain't going to stop. We're not going to back down. We're not going to slow down. We're not going to stop. Here's that dude that got fired, I think, from the FBI? This guy, Jamie Manina? He's been caught by O'Keefe and accused. Guy tries to... Anyways, pretty good. Check it out.
Jamie, you're a spy hunter, you say. Well, I'm a spy hunter too, but I'm evidently a better spy hunter than you.
I have no permission to use it.
Actually, we do. It's called the First Amendment. Why would you lie to me?
I'm not lying to you, and I'm not...
Do you lie every day at work?
No, I'm not lying.
Then why did you say that you are working with retired generals?
What are you talking about?
You were a special agent with the FBI. You worked for Hillary Clinton. You worked for the State Department. You talk about hunting spies. What if my undercover person was a Russian spy?
Go away, you liar. You're a known fraudster. You have a poor reputation. No one believes you. Go away. What the fuck out of here.
Okay, so this is the former FBI special agent. Is that right?
You're an asshole. You're an asshole. Go away. Go away.
There's no reason to get upset, sir.
Yeah, there is a reason. Go away.
Like
behind the First Amendment to get rid of your freaking fraud and friends.
Fraud is a very serious accusation. That's a form of...
James, Mr. Manina, on the doll, please show us where James O'Keefe touched you. You friggin' piece of trash. Yeah, I love it. You got a bad reputation. Yeah, James Money. No. You've got a super bad reputation yourself. I think that was the noise like every time the Bionic Man made noise. Didn't he say his last name? I think that's what it was. I think that's what it was. Every time the Bionic Man, right? I think it was. I think that's. I have to go back and watch the tapes. I'm pretty sure I'm actually correct on that. Internal Transportation Department memos shows that senior Biden administration officials have violated the Hatch Act. This is our good friend. I don't know how I get these stories back to back, but leading into. I don't know how it happens. Sometimes God loves me. Sometimes He puts names on the page I couldn't possibly say, like not even trying. Yeah, all said. The three officials here, this watchdog group detailed it concerns that the communications violated the Hatch Act in a letter delivered to the U.S. Office of Special Counsel, the White House, and the Inspector General on Thursday. In the emails, the officials used the phrases extreme MAGA Republicans and finish the job in official messages to both Department Secretary Pete Buttigieg and political appointees in the department in likely violation of the Hatch Act. The act, implemented in 1939, prevents federal employees from engaging in political activities such as fundraising and campaigning and being Pete Buttigieg. That's right. I got lucky on that one. Yeah, sometimes you get lucky. That's all I can say. Alex Soros, he's posting an article saying the key to dealing with Trump is for Europe not to play the victim. So the first paragraph, I guess, in this whole thing. In 1981, the sociologist Betty Grayson and Morris Stein conducted a now famous study on how assailants picked would-be targets. They set up a video camera on a bustling New York City sidewalk and taped people walking by. The tape was later shown to inmates in the East Coast prisons who were incarcerated for violent offenses such as armed robbery, rape, and murder against people unknown to them. The inmates were instructed to rate the pedestrians on a scale of 1 to 10, from a very easy ripoff to would avoid it, too big a situation. EU member states should not be in a hurry to appease the new U.S. president. I love the way they're trying to spin this, but they are very nervous. Now, some of the other funny things that are happening, Europe is trying to put down its foot. So is England, too, and it's brilliance. It's brilliance. And for any of my European/British friends that watch, I'm just going to let you guys know. Look, I love the fact that you guys have a very cool kumbaya kind of thing going on. I just want everybody to know in Europe and England that never once in this country, with the exception of all the crazy woke people, but never once in this country has any true patriot ever wanted to be anything like England, anything like Europe at all. Never, ever. That is so not what typical Americans are. Right, wrong, and different doesn't matter. It really doesn't. We didn't want to be like that. So when Europe and England try to tell American businesses, at least nowadays, because Trump's going to back this, when you guys try to tell us what we can and can't do, well, shucks, we seem to be saying, fuck you. And here's the thing. You go make your own search engine, England. You go make your own search engine, Europe. Go for it. Have a good time. Fuck off, okay? Google won't add fact checks despite new European Union law. The big picture, Google has never included fact checking as part of its content moderation practices. The company has signaled privately to EU lawmakers that it didn't plan to change its practices, but is reaffirming its stance ahead of a voluntary code becoming law in the near future. Now, here's what Europe wants Google to do. They were told that they need to have fact checkers for every time there's a search result and YouTube videos, or use them in a ranking system, or remove content despite the requirements of this EU law. Meaning, they need to give you this little side thing that fact checkers say this story's bullshit. And Google's like, no. Now, I don't know if they can do community notes, and frankly, I have dislike of Google just that runs very deeply within my soul. They're up there with Apple. Not sure which one I dislike more. I would say Google, probably, but Apple every once in a while wins it. It's pretty good. But yes, this letter written to Renate Nicole, the Deputy Director General under the Content and Technology arm of the European Commission, Google's Global Affairs President Kent Walker said in a fact-checking integration required by the Commission's new disinformation code of practice. Simply isn't appropriate or effective for our services, and said Google won't commit to it. Which means Google's not playing that at all, and we're not planning on playing that at all. Now, kind of another example, House Judiciary Committee, Democrats, are urging Attorney General Merrick Garland in his last few remaining days to release Special Counsel Jack Smith's full report on Donald Trump, his alleged mishandling and concealment of classified documents. They want the full thing. They want to leak it. We know that. Raskin is pushing this forward. Raskin is the head judicial dude now, and he is, well, we know he was part of the J6 stuff. He was part of the impeachments. So Raskin is a rascal and a pirate, matey. I remember your cancer days, Yes, it's unfortunate what bad karma is going to do for you, sir. I don't know why prostate keeps popping in, or colon. I'm not sure which. I just feel like it's in the butt. You're going to have some sort of cancer. I don't know. Maybe the Holy Ghost is talking to me right now. It's hard to say. But yeah, Raskin, you're in a bad place. Vatican, oddly, is cracking down on illegal entry into its territory. But they run around and tell everybody, the immigrants. Yeah. Sorry. You guys are keeping people out. Why? Why are you intensifying your penalties for illegal entry? What is going on, Vatican? I know you've only got 10,000 to 25,000 people or whatever, like some small number of people. Their fines are dishing out. That's actually what that number is. Do they have the actual? I don't think they had the population in this particular story. But this is what the Pope's doing. You know, the same guy running around like George Soros saying stuff, but not doing the same thing. You gotta love that. Mike Johnson removes Mike Turner as House Intelligence Chair. The Ohio Republican has been an outspoken advocate for Ukraine funding and other hawkish stances. So, yeah, he's out. Trump's movements are already happening. Deep state people are being removed. Lindsey Graham, this is your final warning. That's all I can say. And I mean that in the standpoint of, like, you're going to get voted out. That's what I mean. Rep. Cloud, Senator Reich, and Rep. Cloud and Senator Risch. They introduced legislation blocking federal gun registry. I hope this happens. We'll see. No Registry Rights Act designed to protect the Second Amendment rights while also addressing the overreach of the ATF. So they are trying to pass this. We'll see. This will be interesting. Hopefully they do. Obviously, none of us like the database that many of us are in. Montana House advances transgender bathroom bill after prior effort affecting first state trans lawmaker. Whatever the case is, they passed a law basically saying you got to use the bathroom of your sex of birth, not what you feel like today. I don't care that this individual maybe has legitimate boobies and maybe taking hormones. He's still got a wanker, I guess. So when you got one of those, you must at least, well, you're a man. That's all there is to it. So use the man's room, all right? We don't care. We honestly probably don't care for the most part. I don't think most dudes would say anything. I've seen chicks walk into the bathroom numerous times and been like, all right, meh. Like, I mean, we don't care. We know we're safe. I don't think there's a man on this planet that's worried about getting raped by a woman unless he's in a woman's penitentiary and he's not really, yeah, anyway. Right, but we don't worry about that. Women do, on the other hand. It's very different. A man walks into a woman's bathroom, very different vibe than the other way around. And, you know, I would say most dudes are just gross. And we're like, you going to show us your parts? No? Then fuck, why are you here? Whatever. The girls' restroom's full, and they've got gumption, that's for sure. 145 House Dems vote against a bill to deport migrants who commit sexual assault. If you're a migrant who commits sexual assault, 145 House Dems don't think you should be deported. Now, the legislation passed, and it was bipartisan, by the way, 274 votes for it, 145 against. And yes, all Republicans supported this, and a bunch of Democrats did as well. But 145. Oh, sorry, 158? What's the number? It says 145 up there, and then 140 more than. And then here they're saying 158 Democrats. They actually got the list. Yeah, so anyway, 158 of them didn't vote. This is Nancy Mace's thing.
So today, House...
You can shush. You can shush. Yeah, they don't have a list. I was hoping they had a list. I wasted a lot of time for nothing. Sometimes there's something. Senator John Fetterman, he's pissing off everybody on his side of the fence, and it's pretty cool. I like it. Now, this dude says, he pulls a quote at the end that basically says something to the effect that we shouldn't be like letting this guy have a voice, Fetterman, that he's a turncoat. I think, again, this is the Hill putting this out, or whoever this channel is. I think that's them not wanting us to give time to somebody that's actually sensible, somebody that's kind of in the middle. I don't care what your label is. I've said it before, Democrat, Republican, I'm going to give you a fair shake. Again, Manchin did a great job going and saving our vote numerous times. In fact, the one that first changed over to independent, the chick from Arizona, yeah, she didn't actually vote for hardly anything that helped us out. But Manchin did. He pissed off a whole lot of people and gave up his career for this country. And Fetterman, I think, is kind of doing the same. He'll ultimately, I think, probably creep over to independent or Republican. But here's where they warn us sternly of what we should think. So make sure you think what they say, and not what you think, because we can't let you guys just run around thinking whatever you want. This is going to ruin children and democracy and clean air and water, and everything that's wrong in the world is going to be because of you.
Looks like President-elect Donald Trump has a new friend. Democratic Senator John Fetterman visited Mar-a-Lago recently. After their meeting, Trump praised Fetterman, telling the Washington Examiner that it was a totally fascinating meeting. He's a fascinating man, and his wife is lovely. They were both up, and I couldn't be more impressed. He's a common sense person. He's not liberal or conservative. He's just common sense, which is beautiful. Here's Fetterman last week discussing his rationale for visiting.
I demand that I need to be made Pope of Greenland.
Do you have the resume to be Pope?
I'm having a conversation like he's the president, is going to be. So, I am not the senator for just Democrats in Pennsylvania. I'm everyone's senator in Pennsylvania.
Radio host Dean Obadala took to Blue Sky and criticized Fetterman's move, writing, "I wish Trump would pick Fetterman for his cabinet so Governor Shapiro could appoint an actual Democrat to fill the seat."
Took to Blue Sky is like taking to your parents' basement or something. Political commentator Rob Smith wrote on X, where the rest of us are, "Conservatives, please stop sharing and platforming people who were stumping for Kamala the Communist 5 minutes ago. I don't want to see Charlemagne or Stephen A. Smith or Bill Maher or John Fetterman or any of the rest. They don't need free PR from us."
It bugs me that he lumps him in with Charlemagne the God, or Dugod, sorry. And again, whatever, I'm going to keep talking about Fetterman. I actually like what he's doing, and I want to support anybody that wants to come over to this side of the fence from that side of the fence. You realize how much the numbers are going to change over the next 6 months to a year because of this. So I say we ought to rejoice because there's going to be a lot of this. This is not going to be a normal political year. This will be unlike anything we've ever experienced. Know that. Be prepared for that. This is going to be an interesting year. Millionaire Bernie. This is pretty awesome. He's got a point to make, and dadgummit, it doesn't go well for him. And Bernie Sanders is a millionaire, by the way, but he could have been richer, I guess. I mean, because if you look at all the scandal, the stuff that goes on. But he's got a big problem with something that their side does, too. And this is one of the fun little problems. I mean, again, I give a teeny bit of credit to Bernie. He's actually independent. He's like the only actually independent person that's elected right now. So he doesn't necessarily have to agree with the Democrats. But his stance is pretty retarded, and he typically stands with the Democrats. So anyway, he's guilty by proxy. Here's Bernie Sanders being Bernie Sanders.
Would you agree with President Biden, who last night stated, and I quote, "An oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights, and freedoms," end of quote. That's what President Biden said last night. I agree with him. Do you?
Senator Sanders, I enjoyed our visit.
Talk a little bit closer into the mic.
I enjoyed our visit, and I hope you got my follow-up materials on the discussions, my previous writings on the tariffs and China. And look, the three billionaires who you listed that all made the money themselves. Mr. Musk came to the country as an immigrant.
I understand that, but what I'm asking you is, when you have a handful of people like Musk, who will soon be part of the Trump administration, and others, when you have three people owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society, when these people have enormous influence over the media, when they spend huge amounts of money in both political parties to elect candidates, what Biden said last night is we're moving toward an oligarchy. I'm asking you that question. Do you think, forget how they made their money, do you think that when so few people have so much wealth and so much economic and political power, that is an oligarchic form of society?
Well, I would note that President Biden gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom to two people who I think would qualify for his oligarchs. So
this is not a condemnation of any one individual. I'm just asking you, would so few people have so much wealth and power?
But
do you think that is an oligarchic form of society?
Senator, I think it depends on the ability to move up and down the income.
No, that's not really the answer. I mean, even if you had that mobility, no matter who those individuals might be. All right, but let me ask you another question.
Isn't an oligarch?
Would you agree?
Isn't an oligarch essentially families of wealth that own things? So never mind what it means. Just stop answering the question like it means something different than what I'm saying or what Biden said. That Biden said something stupid. He gave 2 medals to people that were in families that were oligarchs. Soros donates all crap tons of money to the Democrats. That's an oligarch. We got it all over the place. Get out of here, Bernie. You're retarded. That's all. I mean, I love you, but you're a Jerry's kid. That's it. Donald Trump trooped this out. It is my honor to announce John Voight, Mel Gibson, and Sylvester Stallone, the Italian stallion. Literally did a porn when he was younger. He's going to be the special ambassador to a great but very troubled place, Hollywood, California. How funny is that? And it makes sense to have an ambassador to Hollywood, or three. They will serve as special envoys to me for the purpose of bringing Hollywood, which has lost much business over the last 4 years to foreign countries, back bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. These three very talented people will be my eyes and ears, and I will get done what they suggest. It will be like the United States of America itself, the golden age of Hollywood. It's going to be such a good time. Again, the bumps in the night are going to be fun when we go through it, and then after that, should start to get better. Charlie Kirk posted this. It's incredible to witness how dramatic the atmosphere is in Trump's second inauguration approaches. If Trump 1.0 led the resistance, then Trump 2.0 is leading to the acquiescence, or really, the liberation. There's a collective culture sigh of relief. Mark Zuckerberg has announced that Meta is junking its fact checkers and rolling back censorship. McDonald's, Walmart, and Boeing are getting rid of their DEI programs. And now, Starbucks brought back its policy of requiring people to be paying customers to use the restroom or loiter in the building. A policy they got rid of during the Great Awakening on the ridiculous grounds it was racist. Suddenly, it's okay to enforce the law again. Gavin Newsom is even vowing to throw the book at looters in California. Wokeism? It turns out it had a glass jaw. Hit it firmly and it shatters. Why? Because not only is it corrosive cancer in every company, institution, and country where it takes root, but most people secretly hate it. They just needed leaders to take a stand, break the spell, and show the woke for what they really are. Cowardly, resentful, mean-spirited parasites. Many people played a role, but Donald Trump led the way. The malaise of the past decade is dissipating, and America is ascendant once more. Thanks God. Or thank God. All the above. Here is a sharp contrast from his first inauguration portrait. Donald Trump is serious, and this is pretty cool. His inauguration right here. This is the one he's sending out to people. Yeah, Donald Trump's picture is hugely different, as you can see here in color. Stern, serious, don't fuck with me kind of look on his face. I don't know, maybe those are his fuck me eyes. I don't know. Whatever the case is, I don't feel like messing with him. Hopefully he does better than that to Melania. Hopefully. Donald Trump truthed this out. As of today, the incoming Trump administration has hired over 1,000 people for the United States government. They are outstanding in every way, and you will see the fruits of their labor over the coming years. We will make America great again, and it will happen very quickly. In order to save time, money, and effort, it would be helpful if you would not send or recommend to us people who worked with or are endorsed by Americans for No Prosperity, headed by Charles Koch, or Koch, I guess, sorry. I think it's funner to say it the other way. Dumb as a Rock, John Bolton, Bird Brain, Nikki Haley, Mike Pence, which he didn't give a nickname. That's kind of interesting. Disloyal warmongers Dick Cheney and his psycho daughter Liz, Mitt Romney, Paul Ryan, General Mark Milley, James Mattis, Mark Jesper, or any of the other people suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, more commonly known as TDS. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Meaning, if any of the people from any of those groups are giving advice or thoughts or whatevers, yeah, don't share them with me, please. I don't care what they think. You'll save us a lot of time. And this actually goes to a lot of the posters that are out there. A lot of people like to post it and put at Musk, at Trump. And it's something that's kind of like ridiculous and like attacking them or whatever. they don't have time for that, guys. That's the thing. You want to get noticed. Put something that's actually positive towards the future that we're heading for, not someone that's just saying something stupid, because that's a waste of time for anybody that's actually got a busy schedule. I mean that as sincere advice to any of you guys. Don't waste their time with stupid stuff. Waste their time with good stuff that actually helps forward the ball, helps move the ball forward. You do that, you're going to get noticed. You'll get that call out from Trump or whatever. So this is a big piece of advice for a lot of people out there, especially you truthers and Xers. The real reason Michelle Obama is skipping Donald Trump's inauguration and how it could further divide her from her husband, Barack. Now, this, again, is from alleged sources close to her. But supposedly, I mean, she was absent from Jimmy Carter's funeral. I've talked about this. And then she wasn't, or is not going to be at the inauguration. She basically is saying that she's not going to be fake. She's not going to pretend to like Donald Trump, that she hates this dude with every bit of her hatred inside of her hate vehicle. So she doesn't want to be there. I don't actually think that's true. I'll be honest. I don't have an idea what the hell is actually going on. I think something's up with her. I'd be curious to see if they put her in, at least in the public someplace. But this is very interesting how, he's not going to play the game with his husband, Barack. So I'm not sure. Not sure what's going on. I know a lot of people are very pissed off about this, but she wasn't there already. Maybe he knew he was going to be sitting next to Trump. Maybe he said, yeah, I'll sit next to Trump. I don't care. That was almost a decent imitation. But, I don't know, whatever. I don't believe the story that's being put out, especially by the Daily Mail, because that's like Axios and a lot of those others, just British version of it. Crap is what it is. Former Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she's not going to also be at the inauguration. Cool. That's fantastic. I hope you don't show up. Thank you. In fact, try not to show up to anything if you could, please. Even life. You could stop showing up to that. That'd be fine. The CEO of the big three social media platforms, TikTok, Meta, and X, are all going to be at the inauguration. I don't know if they're trying to get favor. I don't know if they've already gotten it. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories already rolling. I don't know if I agree. They all gave $1 million for this, and them, Bezos, a whole bunch of people. It wouldn't surprise me if Bezos is there too. A lot of these guys spent $1 million for this inauguration. I don't even know what that means, because I don't know how expensive it actually is. I don't know if they're just paying the government back for whatever it costs. Whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. But this is, it's interesting. It's they're trying to get favor. Technology is going to matter in the future, right? We're trying to become the biggest, best, and greatest. So Meta is going to be a pretty good place to look at that. X, SpaceX, I mean, all the crap that Musk is involved, right? TikTok, the fact that he's there is kind of interesting, because maybe the day before the inauguration will have already lost his platform in the United States. Like, it literally could be shut down. We'll see. Governor Ron DeSantis names his new attorney. We'll let him speak his words.
Have demonstrated stock is cheap. We need people that have demonstrated fidelity to these principles with their actions. So that is why today I'm proud to announce that I am selecting our Attorney General, Ashley Moody, to serve as our next U.S. Senator. So many of you know her. She's obviously been on the ballot twice statewide and won big victories. She's honorably served our people as her time as Attorney General over these last 6 years. She's a fifth-generation native of Plant City, Florida, in the Tampa Bay area, and even was named queen of the famous Strawberry Festival back in her youth.
All right, this is getting stupid, but yeah, exactly. So good deal. That's awesome. Congratulations. And wonderfully low-quality video. Fantastic. And the audio sucked as well. There we go. But yeah, Attorney General Ashley Moody is the next senator of Florida. Very cool. She looks like she's maybe got, some Cuban in her too, maybe? Again, all the right check boxes, but she's a Republican, so it's kind of like a bad checkbox. They'll come up with something about her. Judge rules former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. He's going to have to pay a 6-figure fine. Judge ruled this week that he $475,000 fine for misusing public funds on a police security detail during his failed 2020 White House bid. Yeah, they said, sorry, buddy, you're not allowed to get that kind of money and pay that kind of money. Supreme Court judge dismissed the former mayor's legal challenge, calling it entirely baseless. So, bummer for him. So here's the thing I was talking about with Rudy Giuliani. He says, this is his quote, I have reached a resolution of the litigation with the plaintiffs that will result in a satisfaction of the plaintiff's judgment. This resolution does not involve an admission of liability or wrongdoing by any of the parties. I am satisfied with and have no grievances related to the result we have reached. I have been able to retain my New York coupe and New York condominium and all of my personal belongings. No one deserves to be subjected to threats, harassment, or intimidation. This litigation has taken its toll on all parties. This whole episode was unfortunate. I and the plaintiffs have agreed not to ever talk about each other in any defamatory matter, and I urge others to do the same. Part of the problem for Giuliani has been the threats and stuff that these two ladies got. Never okay to threaten people. Never okay to be that level of a jerk, ever. So hopefully we're doing a better job. I think most of us do. We've got a reporter yelling at Blinken as he tries to deliver an update at the ceasefire. This is kind of funny. This guy gets arrested. We're going to play this guy. I think it's kind of entertaining. And at the same time, it's just indicative of this guy. I think he's one of the, I forget the ones that wear the white and red. I feel like it's Hamas or one of those guys. Like, I feel like he's representing or Afghanistan maybe, or possibly, yeah, maybe Afghanistan. I don't know. You guys, you can correct me on that. Throw it in the comments. But, and by the way, hit the thumbs up if you could, please. And make sure you're subscribed to my channel. All said, here's a reporter losing his shizzle at Blinken. It's kind of fun.
Even greater respect, even greater appreciation for you asking the tough questions, for you holding us to account, being on the receiving end. Sometimes that's not always the most comfortable thing, not always the most enjoyable thing, but it is the most necessary thing in our democracy.
Reporters in Gaza were on the receiving end of your bombs. Why did you keep the bombs flowing when we had a deal?
I'm happy to address questions.
We had a deal. Everyone in this room knows we had a deal, Tony, and you kept the bombs flowing.
I'm happy to address questions when we get a chance. Thank you.
Based order on the mantle of your commitment to Zionism. Did you want to finish? Why did you allow my friends to be massacred? Why did you?
I'm happy to address your questions when we get to questions. Thank you. Thank you.
You helped destroy all religion and Judaism by associating.
Yeah, I have a statement. Yeah, I have a statement to make. Thank you.
You waved the white flag before Netanyahu. You waved the white flag before Israeli fascism.
I look forward to taking questions when I get a chance to finish my statement. Thank you.
Your grandfather was an Israel lobbyist. Are you compromised by Israel? Why did you allow the Holocaust of our time to happen? How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide? How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide? You too, Matt. You smirk through the whole thing every day. You smirk through a genocide.
So all of that led to this, which I think is fun to watch. Check this out.
I carry in my pocket the names of those who have been arbitrarily detained and unfairly held hostage, unjustly held hostage, and bringing them home, returning them to their families, returning them to their loved ones. Finally,
get your hands off me. 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 Answer a damn question. Do you know about the Hannibal Directive? Do you know about Israel's nuclear weapons? Everybody from the ICJ. I was sitting here quietly, and now I'm being manhandled by 2 or 3 people. You pontificate about a free press. You pontificate about a free press. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. I'm asking questions after being told by Matt Miller that he will not answer my questions until I ask him questions.
Respect the process.
Wasn't the point of the May 31st statement to block the ICJ orders? You blocked the ICJ orders.
Please, sir, respect the process.
Respect the process. Respect the process while everybody from Amnesty International. From Amnesty International to the ICJ saying that Israel's doing genocide and extermination. You're telling me to respect the process. Criminal! Why aren't you in The Hague? Why aren't you in The Hague?
Well, at least he got a ride out. I mean, that's not a bad thing. And also, if you think about it, I mean, I think one of the complaints he had on the way out the door was, I came in here with a full head of hair. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, I do. And I'm not trying to totally make light of his arguments. There are some arguments to be made. But, there's so much war has been coming from that side of the fence. They continue to launch rockets, and this is something that needs to stop. Everybody needs to stop fighting. We'll see if we can actually get to that point. Apparently, the Israeli cabinet has voted on the ceasefire deal. Well, they delayed it. Let's put it that way. And Netanyahu he's going to have a hard time getting this moving. He's accusing Hamas of backing out of a deal. Now, the thing, hopefully I didn't lose it. Here it is, cool. The thing that he's accusing him of is that Hamas is backtracking on an earlier understanding that he said would give Israel a veto over which prisoners convicted of murder would be released in exchange for hostages, meaning we're not going to give you, there's going to be a prisoner exchange from both sides, and Israel is basically saying, we're not giving you murderers back that killed people. No, that's forget it. No, it's not happening. So there's going to be a vote on this. That vote has been delayed till Saturday. It was supposed to happen sooner than that. Been delayed till Saturday. Trump takes office Monday. If this isn't done by the time Trump takes office, then all hell breaks out. To quote Trump, it's kind of a weird way to say it. You'd say all hell breaks loose typically, but all hell breaks out. So they've got a big problem going on, and it seems the deep state, I think that's who's behind trying to keep this from happening. The deep state is desperately trying to keep this ceasefire from occurring. And I think Trump is, let's put it this way. The deep state is trying to forge a BS ceasefire so they can continue to do things inappropriately, I should say. And the good guys are basically saying no, and we're going to absolutely annihilate you if this goes a day past. So no on the idea that you've passed. Sorry, we do have a veto power, and if this is how it's going to play, we'll I'm going to put words in Netanyahu's mouth, but we'll do a false flag and make it look like you attacked us. So it's easy to launch some rockets into Israel. It's going to look bad on you guys. So, yeah, no matter what. And again, I don't approve of that kind of shenanigans, but we are in a tough place, unquestionably. And so we'll see how things continue to play out. So the ceasefire in Gaza Strip should start on Sunday. This is more of Blinken telling us what's the update, I guess. It doesn't really tell us a lot. I think I probably covered most of it, but
I am confident, and I fully expect that implementation will begin, as we said, on Sunday. Look, it's not exactly surprising that in a process, in a negotiation that has been this challenging and this fraught, you may get a loose end. We're tying up that loose end as we speak. I've been on the phone in one way or another all morning with Brett McGurk, with our Qatari friends, and I'm very confident that this is moving forward, and we'll see the start of implementation of the agreement on Sunday.
Yeah, so we will see it. He says. I mean, again, this is Biden gonna, because he was trying to take credit for this. Like, is he gonna allow? I don't know. I don't know how any of this stuff's going to play out, man. Again, that's why I keep trying to tell people, it's like, I'm not going to even try to tell the future. I think right now stuff is so chaotic and happening so quickly. What I think is a really good idea at this point in time is to take it day by day. What's actually happening? What are we actually dealing with? And speculations are just unhelpful at this point because they're almost overwhelmingly wrong. And I think we need to get more serious about bobbing and weaving in the middle of the actual event rather than being like, do you think he's going to throw punches in the third round? It's like, bro, you're in the middle of the first round right now. I know, but I'm really curious what he's going to do in the third round. No. We need to be worried about right now, I think, my opinion. So, yes, Israeli cabinet set to delay this vote on the ceasefire. Members of the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet are set to delay this vote, probably because he doesn't like this idea that they can have the worst of the criminals back. No. Thank you. Also, intelligence suggests that only roughly about half of the actual hostages are still alive, maybe. And I bet that number's high. We'll see. I don't know what the betting is on that one, but this is not a good time, that's for sure. TikTok considering total shutdown in the U.S. on Sunday if the ban moves forward. Very curious what's going to actually happen with this. Trump is considering an executive order hoping to save TikTok from the ban. I don't know what's going on with that either. Again, might be deals he's trying to make. Maybe it's why the TikTok dude's showing up on Inauguration Day. Maybe they'll be shut down for a day for all of you guys that are addicted to TikTok and start scratching yourself because you can't deal with it. That probably be worked out. We'll see. I guess I'll feel better if Trump is kind of behind it, but again, there's stuff that stuff I don't know if I'm totally ready for, and stuff that I'm pretty sure I am. Of these two videos, this top one, this is England in all their incredibleness. We need to be more like Europe and England. Again, not trying to be a dick to my English friends across the pond, but y'all got your serious problems going on right now. Y'all need to fix your own shit because your shit stinks too. And we got our stuff we're working out, and hopefully you guys will have the strength as we start to figure out shit. Hopefully you guys have the strength to start to push a little bit harder. I know it's a little crazy right now, but I wish the best, and prayers to all of my friends across the pond, be it Europe or England. Stop telling us what to do, by the way, and I'll be much happier. But whatever the case is, my support is with you guys, and I know you guys have some tough things to go through. Here is a lady really calling out this sliminess, and I think was this like the London mayor or some shit. This dude's a piece of crap. That's what he is. I say it. I can't go to England now because I'll probably get arrested for this douchehole. But this guy is a true douchehole. He is exactly what a douche nozzle or the hole. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell which. You guys maybe tell me in the comments which one you think he is. Check it out.
I asked you this question last week and you found every which way but not to answer it. Just how many grooming gangs have we got in London?
To avoid any misunderstanding, can she define what she means by that?
Yes, if you look at what's gone on in Rotherham, where there are people taking young girls, grooming them for sex, that is what I'm talking about.
We know in London there are issues about exploitation of young people, but they're not as defined by the member in her definition of what those types of gangs are.
So are you saying we haven't got the same sort of gangs that are in Rotherham, Bradford and lots of other places in the country?
Just for the misunderstanding, what does she mean by that?
You know full well what I mean by that. It's all over the television. You know exactly what I mean by that. These gangs of people that are grooming young girls for sex. Do we actually have those in London?
I'm unclear, Chair, what is meant by the question. If you could spell it out, I can answer.
I've just spelt it out. Are you not listening? It's the sort of gangs that groom young girls at a young age for sex. Exactly how much clearer do you want me to be?
I'm pretty sure that she's bloody furious, because I can actually tell she's angry. I can tell, which means, holy shit, you broke a Brit. Yeah, she's fucking livid. Good on you, sweetheart. Yeah, this is insanity. And his answers are, this is why I think, pretty sure why we don't care what Europe thinks. Sorry. You guys literally are, like, you're fighting over words. Oh, my God. People would freak out, I think, over here. Pretty close to as bad. Pope Francis apparently injures his arm after falling. After falling at the Vatican. It's his right arm, the only reason I assume, and I assume he's right-handed. He doesn't wear glasses necessarily, so who knows? Who knows what's going on with this dude? But he fell over. I am brought up Catholic too, by the way, and I'm definitely going to poke fun at this poke. That said, he hurt his right arm because he fell. Here's the thing. Last time I saw him when he was doing the magic opening of the doors, he was in a wheelchair. I don't think the dude walks very well. My guess is he was trying to walk to something, trying to act like he can still walk, and fell. Because the pontiff is about 4 seconds away from death. A lot of people think that 2025, we will be seeing, white smoke or black smoke? Possibly, eventually white smoke, maybe lots of black smoke. Don't know. Many say that this is the last pope. Also don't know. This is going to be an interesting year. It's not going to be as bad as was foretold, but it is not going to be good, because there are a lot of deep state things. The Vatican has so many secrets buried in that library. It's disgusting, and it should be handled properly, I think. I want to remind you guys of my good friends at Pet Club. I love these guys at Pet Club. They are fantabulous. Healthy products. And this mushroom, Coriolus versicolor, it's in here. You can't see it because it's awesome in pill form, and these are the human ones. But this mushroom, Coriolus versicolor, there's a whole bunch of different studies that actually show its benefits on the immune system, show its benefits towards cancer. I honestly think doing this and some Ivers maybe, especially if you're fighting cancer, you do some decent doses of this and some Ivers. There's been people that have talked about it and that blue stuff. So seriously consider some of those options. This is, again, a product that's also made for your pets, and that's one of the fun things about it is there's a human tab for sure, and there's a lot of great products for humans. Highly recommend them, but there is other stuff you can take, but I do recommend these. But the dogs and cats are the ones you want to make sure you're getting this in your animals because it's the same benefits. This mushroom benefits the animals as well. It helps with the cancer, helps with other immune issues that a lot of them have had. There's been a lot of people that have talked about the positive things they've seen. Mush puppies is a great one just for dogs. Cats don't necessarily dig mush puppies because it's like a cookie kind of. Dogs eat just about anything. They sniff their own butts. So again, you can't raise the bar too high there and really upset the apple cart. Mojo's is a liver treat. So Mojos are actually the treat that dogs and cats tend to dig. I mean, dogs like liver too. Cats definitely like liver, don't like cookies. So if you've got multiple pets in your domicile, you might very well want to check out the Mojos. That's a great way to go about it. That's on both the cats tab and the dogs tab. But they've also got different kinds of food. They've got these special sauces that you can squeeze on top of their food. Again, I've heard some great positive stories from many people. I've also heard a couple stories where maybe it sounds like the dogs or cats are a little further along. All said, it depends on where they're at. All I know is I had to put a dog down once in my life, and she had horrible cancer, and had it for years, and still stayed with me. And I think she probably saved my life, frankly. But she was a beautiful animal, and I had to put her down, and it still to this day hurts. And they don't live long enough. They don't live even close to long enough. Help them live longer. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. All sorts, again, great products. They've got products for horses too. They've got mush ponies, and you can buy them in a number of different ways, and depending on how many horses you have. And of course, the humans tab. They've got a lot of really, really cool stuff for humans. They've got the gummy version of these, is a great way to go. They've got the green and yellow, as they're affectionately known. I've got the yellow right here, right now, and again, it's the one I take. It's like more of a herbal medicine or herbal pill. The green one's kind of more of a, not that, I mean, there's differences in what's inside of them, but it's just when you take them. The yellow one is more of the, like that herbal vitamin, like that brown kind of colored, regular hard vitamin kind of pill. And then the other one's the gel caps. It's got all sorts of cool stuff inside of it. So I like the gel caps because I feel like they're faster acting and quicker into my system. But I like the other ones too because they're kind of a longer acting. So I like to use them together is what I typically do. So they've got a number of products you can do that with. They've also got this Enforce Shield that just kind of helps your whole system just stay strong. And they've got coffees that don't have the toxins in them and also have the mushrooms and taste delicious. They've also got these chocolate chip cookies that have the Coriolis versicolor in them. So when you get the munchies at night, you can help yourself a little bit. Go to danradiostyle.petclub247.com. That's danradiostyle.petclub247.com. Make sure you make some of those steps for your little guys. Keep them alive longer. That is for sure. Conor McGregor, Heat, has been sued for his alleged sexual harassment at a 2023 NBA Finals game. I don't know. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on this. Just it came up. I just thought I'd bring it up. I like this guy for the most part, but he's kind of getting busted for getting drunk, and apparently he likes cocaine. I don't know for sure, but this is the rumor. And so he seems to get a little riled up, and he happens to be like a super tough dude, so he doesn't take shit from people very well, and so he kind of has that attitude. He's like, I'm one of the baddest badasses in the world, so yeah, what are you gonna do, try to arrest me? Watch what happens. You better get 6 friends. So I don't know, he supposedly sexually assaulted somebody at this game. He was super trashed. None of these things are proper or right, so again, whatever happens, we'll see. It's gonna be one of those things that continues forward. This was posted. So famed cartoonist was arrested. This Pulitzer, however, prize-winning cartoonist for the Washington Post was arrested for child pornography in California yesterday. This was the first arrest by the Sacramento child crimes detectives where the suspect had AI CSAM content. So it's like child, what is it? Child sex abuse materials is what that stands for. Anyway, this dude got busted. They hit him on January 15th and arrested him, served a search warrant, took a bunch of stuff. The guy had a whole bunch of apparently AI-generated child sexual materials. Again, kind of an interesting way to come at it, but it probably had some real stuff too. It's all just messed up. He had 18 files containing CSAM, and the investigation continued, and a total of 134 videos of CSAM were located and linked to the same account. So this dude's done some pretty nasty, nasty stuff. Billionaire Robert Miller is accused of being a secret pedophile who preyed on girls as young as 11. This is a billionaire in Canada. He's the new Jeffrey Epstein in Canada, basically. This guy's majorly going down. He's lawyering up right now. We'll see. Again, not guilty until proven so in a court of law. Different in Canada, but nonetheless, go punch a moose. Two of Jeffrey Epstein's buddies could be in line to receive a large financial payout thanks to the $112 million tax refund that has made the late pedophile millionaire's once dwindled estate flush with cash. I don't know, some weird thing on the Virgin Islands. After they've paid all their settlements, there's still a bunch of cash left in the estate or in the property or whatever. So now it looks like these lawyers or these buddies, whatever we'll call them, are going to end up with let's call it a crap ton of money. Kind of dirty in their own right, but whatever. Let's go ahead and play this Greer thing. He's starting a podcast. He's saying in 72 hours something's going to happen. Stephen Greer, I love very much his attempt at getting people to do the sixth encounter. But he's got some very beautiful stuff he does there. He's also, I think, being played by the deep state, and I think some of his sources are definitely deep state. So again, I kind of take everything he says, not with a grain of salt per se. I think he's a good man. I think he means right. I think he's misinformed sometimes. Whatever the case is, here's Stephen Greer talking about this podcast and what he's got coming up in the near future. It could be a big deal for us. We'll see if it actually is.
The reason we're starting this podcast now, rather emergently here today, is because we have a group of people who are in the process in the next 72 hours or so who will be coming forward with a great deal of information and evidence related to the UFO and NHI or extraterrestrial issue. And I think the public is going to need to have a source of perspective and context and analysis to go to. And so I feel that this is the time for me to start a podcast like this. We're going to be eager to let everyone, put the word out that we're doing this because I think without the context and interpretation, understanding, there'll be too many opportunities for the disclosure of this information to be manipulated, go sideways.
So we'll see what comes. We'll see. Hopefully some good things. I'm excited. Joe Biden's Environmental Protection Agency carried out research subjecting small animals to harmful conditions to study the effects of wildfires and mental health crisis. The experiments conducted between 2022 and 2024 involved subjecting rats and mice to extreme heat exposures, simulated wildfire smoke, and conditions such as solitary confinement to gain information on how that affects animals. I get why you wouldn't want to necessarily test people for that stuff, but at the same time, it takes a certain level of detachment from life or animals, or I don't know. It's so weird to be able to do that level of stuff, like the beagles that were getting attacked by the flies, and they removed their vocal cords so they couldn't yelp because it was too annoying. Like, just the level of evil that exists inside of someone to be able to do that. It's horrible. Bob Uecker, known as Mr. Baseball, a little high and just a bit outside. The dude from Major League as well. Bob Uecker. He died. And very sad. Legendary voice of the Milwaukee Brewers. Age 90 years old. Dude had a full life. Lived a great life, hopefully. But yeah, we'll miss him very much. Folks, we got a lot of crazy going on. Got a great music show coming tomorrow or today for some of you guys watching this show on Friday. I hope you guys will continue to help and move forward with me because we are going to have some interesting bumps in the night, bumps in the day, and some major successes to brag about in the coming days, weeks, months, and years. A lot of great days are coming for all of us. We've still got some tough stuff. Don't put your guard down just yet. We're not quite there. I love you guys. Where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.